Hi everyone, this is the Beer Watcher. It is December 13th, 2017, and there apparently seems to be a lot of conversation about the Sun Simulator. And in light of the new evidence from MB333 channel, I thought I would touch on the subject once more. And I also now believe that the Sun and Moon Simulator have been weaponized. Let's get right into it. So let's just start with a non-chemtrail sunset. Let's look very carefully at this picture here. You see what appears to be a hexagonal sun. Now, hold your breath if you want to say it's these shutters, because this was taken with a cell phone camera. It doesn't have shutters. No chemtrail cloud. That appearance definitely seems to be what could, not hexagonal, but it could actually be a cube. Why do I say that? Well, let's look at the patent on this a little bit later. But I want to do comparative pictures of the evidence that we see on this. So, many people have seen pictures of the International Space Station. And what I believe this to be the front-facing side of the Sun simulator. Take a nice hard look at that. And then what appears to be the back of the Sun simulator, a little bit different. Oh, what the front and back look like. So let's watch a very short video clip of the International Sun Simulator. It may not actually be attached to the International Space Station, but it does appear like they're working on it. Here we see them turning this thing off and on. What I believe this to be the back of the Sun Simulator. Notice the light characteristics of this halo cloud that looks awfully like the dark sun halos we get every day now, when the chemtrail planes start flying in front of the sky and, kind of looks like this. But I think this is the back of the Sun simulator. I think that's the actual shield protecting it from the heat. Now let's look at this sun eclipse sunset one more time. And you're going to see something kind of odd with this setting sun. And now let's look at from believe it's a Facebook page from lasers caught firing that burns a tree from the inside out from the Joel Steen channel. Check that out. Does that look familiar? Right from the center. Now, I'm asking for the original photo of this object, of this picture, but, when you go and study the energy they could put into the Sun simulator, and it wouldn't be that hard to weaponize it. Now, let's just look at all three put together. What do you think? Think it's the same object? All from NASA. We've got from the Joel Steen, this is at night, the moon simulator. This is the day. Now I'm going to try and answer every single question. Why the moon simulator? Why the Sun simulator? It doesn't need to produce a lot of heat. It does, but it produces a more focused heat. It doesn't do a broad heat because it goes through a lens. Now I'm going to touch on that topic. So the new evidence that we saw from the MB3 channel was the hexagonal object that we saw. Many who have seen this hexagonal sun simulator, we can zoom this thing in, and it is almost an exact match of what we saw in the patent. And there's no sun behind it. Why does it look like that? Well, I believe what you were actually looking at is a projection because of the lens array. There's so many lenses and optical devices in the sky. really hard to wrap your brain around what this is. So let's look at the patent one more time. And this invention relates to, this is the patent, okay? This is going to be really cool because everything that this thing is explaining in this doc is, I've got photographic proof of it and videos of it. So in order to, now NASA claims that they're testing space vehicles on the Earth for the effects of this thing. But check this out. This thing must conform to the specific sunlight reaching such a voltage from in space and Earth. Radiation emanating from the solar simulator must be substantially the same of the sunlight it has been filtered through a substantial atmospheric air. Since the sun rays are reaching the vicinity of the Earth are substantially parallel, but the simulator are not parallel. That's the problem with this. The solar simulator must also emit parallel rays. So they got to go through a set of light bending mirrors. And I had this on my other videos. I'm not going to quite touch on that. I'm going to go more into the evidence a little more. I'm trying to explain with more proof what's going on with this. To be substantially same that the sunlight over a large area of distances from the solar simulator in order to keep capable of evenly illuminating a space vehicle over its entire surface. Now let's skip down here. The solar simulator must be reaching an area adjacent to the solar of the Earth's atmospheric air envelope in the following ways. The spectral makeup, all the spectrum of light. The substantial parallelism of the light rays and the intensity of the energy content. Uniformity, intensity, however, this doesn't quite make it. It doesn't do all the spectrums, as it explains later. Meeting all these specifications extremely difficult. For example, in order to approximate the spectrum of the sun or more important parts thereof, the solar simulator invention has been so constructed to require little filtering, attain the same spectral curve as the 0.2 to 1 microns in wavelength. The solar simulator must also have an extremely powerful light source or sources, multiple, in order to illuminate the reasonably large area. Check this out. A 20-foot by 20 feet substantially illumination of that of outer space. Okay, so let me skip down. Since no commercial available single light source can be approximate for the brightness of the sun or over a sufficiently large area to illuminate, check this out, a 20 by 20 cube as required. Illuminate a 20 by 20 by 20 cube. Okay, let's just pause right there. Why would they want to project the light onto a 20 by 20 cube? Do we have proof of that in the sky? Let's watch. Here we go. I've got compiled evidence from Australia time-lapse camera, the projected cube spinning in the sky. Zion Warrior, the black dot, is the cube spinning. Depending how you look at it and how you can zoom in. He zooms in pretty good here. Let me just play that. Now, some want to say that's a camera aberration, but I've got proof that it is not. Why does it disappear and reappear? Why is it reflected on water and other surfaces? So just before you want to jump to that conclusion, hexagonal, it's a cell phone. Debunk that. Now, here's another spinning cube. This one is the most compelling zoomed in spinning cube yet. Watch as he comes down the spinning cube. There you go. Check that out. That's the most zoom. That was in Australia on multiple accounts. And we zoom in. Then we see the spinning cube on a time-lapse camera on a projector. It's being projected because we have a lens in front of it. Now I got some theories about how it's still able to produce some heat. Here's the spinning cube projecting its cone-like light shape across the time-lapse camera in this video. Here's another spinning cube caught on a dash cam. Now, before anybody wants to jump and kill King, it's a cheap camera. Hold on to your hats because it's reflected on all kinds of surfaces as well. In this, I'm going to fast forward this. He goes around a corner. Now, it even reflects on the glass of the window of that car right there. You see that? Go back. Look very carefully. Right there. Let me see if I can catch it. There. Right on the glass of the car. Goes around, catches it twice. It's cut on so many different ways and so many different times. I've got it on water. We've got it on glass. Here we see it spinning again in Australia. And here we got it spinning on a home camera, twinkling in the sky. What you saw previously was the mirror itself. This is a projection of the spinning cube because that spinning cube sits in front of a lens. Not the lens array, but a lens. It's projected, perhaps to help diffuse the infrared light. And then, let's see. Yep, look at that. The projecting light cube behind the cloud. Here's the sun. Wow. Pretty crazy, huh? Proof after proof after proof. You know, and I'm just struggling to show you how to present this craziness to you all at the same time. I'll get back to the sun array, the sun simulator. We see the backside of the sun simulator on this because we see the sun rising on the light, lighting up the earth on the left side. And yet this thing fires up. Right? What is that supposed to be, the moon? Check it out one more time. All right, so this thing lights up and dims out, seems to be the backside of this thing because, and I think what we're looking at is the heat shield from the sun simulator, powered by lasers. To get into some detail, if I missed anything, just please go back. I want to try and cover everything. Now, okay, now to answer one of the questions about the sun simulator, it does not need to emulate the size of the actual sun. It just kind of gets the brightness a little bit. In fact, it's the sun simulator. The real sun is an actual yellow light. The sun simulator is basically a white light. We could see this in the setting sun in San Diego. I took this myself a few days ago. Notice how it went from well, anybody who just go and watch a time lapse of the sun, notice how it has a white center. That's the light coming from the sun simulator, not to be confused with the bigger sun behind it. But I do believe the sun is bigger than it appears for other reasons because of the lens from the lensing effect of the atmosphere. And then as the sun sets, it gets more and more realistically yellow and almost returns to what I zoom in a little bit in the setting of the sun. I would like to note that we do always have lately, for the last couple of years, now have a red halo around the sun. That is not normal there. As it starts to set, we're back to the normal yellow sun. Now to answer some of the questions. It does produce heat, but let me show you how. So let's check out this website, the Fresnel lens, 65-inch Fresnel lens, melting steel. 3,000 degrees. That's just 65 inches. See this? That thing there burns a hole in 1/4-inch steel. Look at that. So what do you think a lens would do? Reculminating that power, refocusing that light. Now, if they do is put a lens back on the other side and distribute that heat a little bit. It's not as even as the heat as the normal sun, but it certainly would feel some heat. Why would they build a sun simulator? You might ask. Well, our real sun is failing. That's one reason. But how about mass panic control? So like I had made this video before, so many have seen it. The lamp on the ceiling represents the true sun. Too bad it wasn't a yellow light bulb. That would have been really cool, right? Because then we're going to get a yellow sun with a nice, warm, creamy white center, like we see at the sunset. Isn't that strange how the sun turns yellow at sunset? Yeah, NASA explained that. Swamp gas theory. So we've got the sun simulator. Now I'm representing the flashlight, the white light. It doesn't need to be as big. Why would it need to always be there in a heliosynchronous orbit? Now listen carefully. At 250 miles in the air, or 400 kilometers, to get near the size of a true sun. And so during the solar eclipses, to emulate the true size of the sun, they just do low chemtrail clouds to produce a larger sun, like here, and high altitude chemtrail clouds to produce a small sun. See, low and high. However, that proves that the fact that the sun is fake, because if that was a true sun, it would never change in diameter because it's too far and the lights would be parallel. Now, let me show you. The true purpose of the sun simulator is to hide the sun, to mass panic control, so that when the nemesis planets are orbiting in front of it, we get a solar eclipse. Okay, I showed you the cloud and the fake sun. Now, if it gets eclipsed, we could still keep shining a light in the sky. We've dropped down some low chemtrails. It looks big. And behold, we've got a sun halo, like in this video. And we could see the changing diameter of the inner circle of the sun, while the outer diameter does not change. That would be impossible if the sun was 93 million miles away and further away. Now, I call it the solar sun simulator because that's what NASA calls it. That's what they call the patent. Light bending, sun simulator, fake sun. You know, we got to play games with words. You've got a better name for it, lens. It is a lighting system. Let's go a little more detail in that light. Okay, so here we have, let me get to it. So there's so many components to the sun simulator. I'm going to show you, kind of staying on topic of that cube, the spinning cube. And let's watch this thing reflect again on this bizarre sunset. I want you to also notice the light here is coming up just like a flashlight coming up out of the sun. Notice it's all fake and angular. This isn't even straight waves. I mean, look at that. Just looks like a flashlight coming up. And then here is the center of the flashlight, the spinning cube, reflecting on the water. You see how fake and phony? And look, you see how you can see the yellow sun between it if it wasn't for the chemtrail clouds they sprayed in front of it? Right there. There's your yellow sun out behind the normal sun with the sun simulator all caught in one shot. The yellow. And then as the sun rises, they chemtrail it. They lay down a thick cloud, making the sun look bigger than it really is. Oh, look, we've even got a little lens array here. So let's touch the topic on that lens array a little bit, because it is pretty compelling evidence. The lens array basically pull the purpose of the lens array is to hide the planets. Now, it's not using conventional lenses like I'm using here, but I'm just using this illustration how when you put a lens in front of an object and you pull its focal point away, you can make it disappear. See that? It disappears. Now, JPL had this patent. The lens arrays were first discovered when I was doing a time-lapse video in this of the setting sun in Australia. Here we can see these lens arrays. Now, I've captured these in other cities as well. Here we can see the lens array here. We can see the light aberration from the lens array, which is in the patent. Why we're seeing that, and I do stand corrected that the red is coming from the sun simulator and not the lens array. Here are the lenses, here's the fake sun. And there's the light aberration that they described in the patent that I will get back to. See all those lenses here. I have a drawing that basically explains this whole concept. So to avoid any more confusion, if I haven't strained your brain enough on this whole topic, let's look at the big perspective of how this whole thing really works. Not to scale, and maybe a little different, but this is our sun. These are basically solar collectors, and I have proof of this too. The space-based energy. The Department of Energy has already worked. Japan's working on it, and PG&E is working on it. In fact, they were beaming billion-watt microwave power to rectennas in the Mojave Desert, and they wanted to move it over to Sebastopol. That's really close to the Napa Valley fires. So the solar simulator, sun simulator, gets its power from the microwave energy, which can be beamed at distances of 35,000 kilometers or 27,000 miles. The microwave beams are beamed onto lasers, I believe, which I had in my other videos, and beaming into this gas-filled chamber, ionizing it, and then beams the light onto a set of mirrors, goes through a reflector dish, and projects it further out. There's actually another component I haven't drawn in here, but I believe the spinning mirror would be further attached out here, spinning in space. And this thing is actually relatively small. I just didn't draw this at all to scale. And I did this because this would have been Planet X, or whatever solar object is casting a shadow on there, it's blocking the sun, what area in the sky that they're trying to defend. That's when they turn this thing on, or that it's necessary, and to keep light and heat. I need to rework this drawing. And then we've got this system of lens arrays, multiple layers, probably could be even 3 to 4 layers deep. But I show this drawing, now try and visualize this three-dimensionally, but this helps answer some of the other questions we have, the strange shadowy objects that never really move in the sky. And I believe this is because whatever object they're showing here, like on this lens is focusing its focal point onto this primary lens, final lens, and same as all these outside lenses, they all focus on the same lens. Now, I believe they actually overlap one another. This is just showing the path of the light, showing, so whatever is shown here in this field where my cursor, you can't see it very well. It's like a little cross, unfortunately, because it's an R drawing. However, this light, whatever object is out here, will now appear only on this disk, no matter where this thing moves. How do I have proof of that? Let's get into that one. Now that I found my lens array folder, I think besides all the compelling pictures that we have here from subscribers of the convergence of the lens array that we see in space, not in space, but in the sky, just light bending like this in the sky, very strange, right? These are captured by subscribers in their cameras. Check that out. This is the same picture. This is just a few minutes later. This would have been incredible if we actually had this on video. So anybody's seen this crazy stuff, I prefer to get this in video. It's pretty amazing. So then we've got these bizarre sunsets caused by the fake sun and the lens array with, you can see the flashlight effect beaming through the lens with the yellow and white light, a mixture of the light from these sun simulator and the real sun, projecting it onto the sky here. And then we've got another sunset, almost looks like Planet X, but it's actually the lens array bending the light as it sets through the sun. Notice you have a combination of yellow and white light. The white light is the fake sun, the yellow is the true sun. Here we have another totally unnormal drawing of the sun simulator setting through a convergence of multiple lenses, and we can even see one of the lens arrays here. Look at the view. So here's the sun simulator at a low orbit, heliosynchronous orbit. Look that up. Always in path of the sun. There's 2 of them, and a moon sim. Hey, maybe even more. But I know they at least got 2 of them. You've seen them both. Check this out. This was caught by subscriber photos of the sunset. And now look why they'd want a chemtrail as the sun sets between the lens array. How insane is this? And look how it just closes up. Wow. And here is a quick video again of the lens array that I showed you before. The evidence just keeps coming. Here is another picture of a lens array. Look how dark it is. Well, you know, you want to call that a rainbow. Not the best example. Excuse me. But check this out. Now, here kind of wraps the whole thing up in a nutshell. Remember that planet I said that just always appears still in the sky because of the lens array? Now watch a full moon pass in front of the lens array at night. Watch what happens. The lens array almost makes the moon disappear, and then, let's see if this, maybe I got the wrong video here. Oh, this one here just shows the lens array. I got the wrong picture. But check this out. This is a different picture. Here we can see the lens array right there. See it? Just lighting up that whole sky. But I do have a video of the moon passing right through the dead center of this planetary shadow. That's not the actual position, but I was just clicked on the video. This is just more proof of the lens array. And more proof of the lens array. This was brought to a subscriber who was out. I didn't even spell lens array right, but oh well. Watch what happens in the sky. I like that earlier video. See this light thing on the side, and he catches the just right because the way you got to be in the path of that light beam to notice that. And every time she moves her camera in front, you see the whole ring of light arc in front of it. Every time she focuses it right on. That is not a lens aberration. The whole sky. Look at that. You've got to be in the right spot to catch that one. And yet here's another one with the lens array time lapse on another camera. They all have the same picture. Look at that. Just light this thing up. There it is. You saw it on the edge of the camera. We're seeing it time and time again. We even see like this projected like image of a shadowy object, and there's a secondary lens behind it, setting up a cloaking field. And sometimes even these lens arrays are just like that Fresnel lens. They could superheat the atmosphere and burn circles in the clouds. Now, I know some of you have seen those pictures. I have yet to capture them, but that would be pretty mind-blowing to see how the lens array is actually burning circles in the clouds. Remember, could you imagine? Remember, that was a 65-inch Fresnel lens at 3,000 degrees. What do you think these things are going to get temperatures at? Wow. Okay, now I found this one. This is my favorite. Remember that planetary object? It's a projection. I tried to explain why that projection works. I'll kind of go back and describe this. Watch this moon pass through the lens array and nearly disappear. And look, it becomes 3 separate moons. That's the convergence of the 3 lenses of the lens array. And then reappear. I mean, you think that's something on lens. It wouldn't make a moon disappear and split into 3 separate pieces. Just how lucky, you know? That's awesome. And then it gets big again, right? Here, I'm going to blow it up. And look how it divided the moon in 3 equal pieces. I believe that's because it passed through 3 of the lens array onto the primary closer lens in the lens. All right. So, yeah, there's something out there creating that image. Look at it split the moon in 2. Almost made it disappear. Now, many people who leave comments in the comment section says, I've seen this, watching the shrinking or disappearing moon. How is that even possible? Now you know. Let me show you a news article from the JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. See here? I'm not making this stuff up. Why would JPL be a part of this, by the way? Jet Propulsion Laboratory, new ultra-thin optical devices shape light in exotic waves. Here they are basically silicon nano pillars that when voltage is applied to these little nano pillars, the silicon material gets very dense, and the density will cause the light to bend. That's why you get the prism effect. If light goes through something and the density changes, it will bend the light. Well, they found a way to bend it. But they got more creative than that because it doesn't just bend light into one big lens. Look how intense focal point right here. But it can actually be one big lens or multiple lenses. But the part that blows my mind, how did they get there? You know, was it chemtrailed and spot and then laser created as it formed this thing with lasers in space with these nanopillars? And I mean, hey, anything's possible, but these are ultra thin metasurfaces. But as you read on in this article, the part that blows me the most is the fact that it actually acts as a display. So you see applications of the devices included microscopes, displays, sensors, and cameras that can be mass-produced using the same techniques to manufacture computer chips, which is silk-screened. So maybe they didn't use chemtrails to manufacture this. That's That's a little stretch. I mean, those are perfectly round. So chemtrails, I think. Yeah, I know what they're created of, but anyways, moving on. Let's read some more news articles about PG&E. Makes a deal for space solar power. We had this before in my previous articles that PG&E had brokered a deal in 2016. 1 year later, we got strange fires. The houses that didn't burn are the ones that didn't have smart meters. Huh. Anybody making a connection here? But, yep, they brokered a deal. Microwave power. Check this out. The Department of Energy. This is their website. Solar powered. Nice UFO they had to put there, right? Little UFO. Space invasion. Hey, maybe they're going to make that giant shadowy planet into a big UFO. And then people come down and worship it, right? Yeah. Would be a one bit surprised. Some people are saying they are UFOs. I'm not saying that they couldn't be beings on those planets, but I don't think it's going to be a UFO. Solar powered. Oh, yeah. And here we go. Let's look at this little article once more. This happened in, think that's normal? In Colombia? There just ain't nothing normal about that, people. A double halo, it's all dark. How many halos can one sun generate, right? 1, 2 overlapping lens arrays, folks. Absolutely huge. And look how dim and dark it is. It's happening. It happened in Russia. It's happening here. This is lower on equator because I believe, look at that high in the sky. Look at them cover up that fake sun. In the real light. So let me finish going over my lens array proof real quick and show this some of the lens arrays compilation that I've had here that we could see. We saw the sun just close out like a weird shutter. We saw this over in Mexico. And then I've even got a video of this one. Let me see if I can find that for you. Here's one that really blows me away. Look at this. I'm going to zoom this in. Remember those the sun closing out? Mary, thank you so much for catching this one for me. Behold, the lens array on video. Watch it just eclipse out the sun. Keep your eye right here. We can see this action. Just for a second, you can catch it. You got to be waiting for it right there. It just doesn't even look real. Let me pause that. You see the side of this huge lens array just shutting out the sun. It happens fast. Just go back and forth. Look how perfectly round that is. That's just crazy creepy. Look at that. So, again, that was basically like this on video. This amazing eclipsing lens array that just shuts out like it. Where are we at here? Wow. Strange. And how come the rainbows aren't even giving us all the colors anymore? Can we figure out that? Here we got over in Mexico. Does that look normal, people? Or does it look like overlapping lens arrays? I'm showing the progression of this sunset in Mexico. I'm just going to toggle through the different videos real quick. And I think that about covers it for the lens array. I might have missed a few of them. The evidence is just so much, and just stay on topic and show you. So what do you think, people? I got better photos from the Joanne Steen, California fires, green laser causing explosions. Take a nice hard look at that. Time-lapse camera of the sun. Take a nice hard look at this fake sun. And then from the International Space Station, wow, you know, what can I say, people? Picture's worth 1,000 words, don't you think? Space Station. Weaponized sun and moon simulator. It's the same thing. And of course, I'm going to end with this. That I had captured this solar simulator from the patent, from the FAA camera, the same picture, the projected image of what MB333 had captured, the same image, zoomed in. Now he's got a better picture of it. The same thing. There you have it, folks. People are seeing this all the time. Anyways, let me go over this drawing one more time. Just kind of a little conceptual of the space-based energy weapon solar simulator, whatever you want to call it. This is not the specs, but this is just kind of showing you how it all works. Now it's a whole lot more complicated than my little simplistic drawing here, but just to show you that this object here is orbiting the Earth at approximately 400 kilometers, powered by lasers. Go back and watch my other video about how that works. We can see the laser light in my other videos, that the lens arrays are making the planetary objects appear still in the sky because all the lenses are converging on a single lens. Perhaps they're going to play these things off. These lenses are going to be in every major city. Just like we see on this live feed in Rome. This planetary object right here just hovers there all day. And at night it turns white. And then sometimes we even catch it just disappearing. So please copy, like, and share this video. I hope I explained this. I do have more videos about the solar simulator and a little more detail in some ways. This one shows all the compelling evidence that I could create, trying to make sense of this object, why it's there. They put it there. Maybe aliens did put it there. The Nephilim, the giants, aliens. But it's there. You have all the proof you need. That's why we have a white sun. It doesn't need to replicate the size because of the chemtrail clouds can make it look bigger. It's there. This real sun still works. They've got us used to this thing. It's been there for a long time. They've been chemtrailing skies for a long time. It's funny how it slowly changed it to white. Yeah, and I skipped this article about a patent. Yeah, right. Just because they didn't make the patent doesn't mean it was built. But the idea is there of a dispersed space-based laser weapon. A dozen or more orbiting solar generators stay in constant touch and can be congregated rapidly in space at any desired secret location. Once congregated all the focused energy to a Death Star. Right? Like we showed you a little earlier. In peacetime, boil oceans, you know, all that fun stuff. So here's a patent for it. These evil people are crazy. Yeah, could be the solar amp for this patent. The arc, it may not be gas. This arc lamp, like we show in this patent, that we could see that this is the arc lamp reflecting on these mirrors, bouncing through this aperture, through a lens, and then onto another lens, that these could be multiple separate lenses. This drawing here shows the light being generated, a blue light and a red light, and being separated. And this is what they call the light aberration, that it doesn't make fluid light. The next drawing here shows, no, something wrong with this thing. Okay, so in the next drawing, here is a breakdown of the arc lamp sun simulator, how it is reflected. This is the lamp here, like we showed you in that little picture. This is and this would reflect on the 4 of these lenses. So you've got 1 lamp per 4 lenses. And then according to the doc, they've got 400 quadruplets or lenses, or bunches of 4 for combined lens that we saw in the photographs. So these are lenses. Here is an exploded diagram looking down on the lens of the solar simulator. This gas arc lamp, the patent did say there could be other light sources, but this is a suggestion using arc lamp, 1800 watts each. So you can see these are the arc lamps going through the lenses, culminating onto the 4 lenses. So each arc amp will project onto 4 separate lenses ultimately, after going through a series of lenses that beam this light. And in the tech doc, it says that they could make it modular so that they could lighten the load. I find that very odd. I mean, who cares about weight unless you're trying to launch this thing into space? But they claim that this is on the Earth. I hope you've been paying attention this whole time, but this is kind of key, and I think this is where this whole thing doesn't make any sense. NASA claims that the solar simulator is to test space vehicles on the ground. But why would they? Another object of the provision of solar simulator composed of modular units, thereby reducing the weight of the entire system and allowing repetitive manufacturing techniques to be applied thereto. But that would reduce the weight. They can assemble this thing in space. Modular. Solar system because of modular units. They can put that thing up in pieces. So there you go, folks. And by the way, some scientists and the physicists from Claudia Albers had said that the diameter of this thing, not the cube, was 300 feet across. Modular, people. Modular. That's your patent. They can lift it up in small pieces and assemble it in space, 1 piece at a time. So that's what they've been doing. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Have a blessed day. Again, you can copy, like, and share this video.